Your phone?
No,
You looked at your phone?
just
You forgot?
living optimally.
Oh, yeah? Are you tired?
And that it's like difficult to live optimally. It's difficult to make decisions for yourself and decisions for your family and decisions for your community and decisions that lead to a more optimal place than you currently are. And everyone wants to run around acting like they have it all figured out because they can advocate for some sort of group or racism or white privilege, and it's like they think they solved life because they advocate for something that they don't even understand. Like, this shit is a little bit more complicated than that. You know, like, it's hard to make good decisions for yourself. It's hard to make good decisions for your family. It's hard to make good decisions for your community. You know, it's hard to figure out what the good decisions are to make. You know, it's like, stop talking about all this other bullshit. Like, everyone's just scared to admit that they don't have anything actually figured out.
Yeah.
So they have to fill their time talking about things that don't fucking matter.
And one of the things that
using irony and sarcasm to pass the conversation rather than addressing a conversation with the intention of serving it.
Yeah, one of the things that Jordan Peterson taught me when I first started listening to him was, especially the Maps of Meaning course, is that figuring out solutions is like down the road for you. Way down the road. It's way down the road for me. It's way down the road for everybody. Articulating the problems right is like your first step.
Right.
Right? You have to articulate what the problem is. And you're going to get that wrong the first 4 times. On every problem that you encounter, you're going to have the wrong problem. The way that you think about the problem, the way that you understand the problem is going to be wrong. After you get the problem right, then...
And by the way, you only understand the problem when you fixed it.
Potentially.
The problem is only within the solution, I feel like.
Maybe. So one of the things Jordan Peterson talked about, and I think he did this in Maps of Meaning, was talking about iterative solutions, right? Well, your first solution won't work, so you have to test. You test your first solution.
Right. To see what
happens, right? And you do it on a small sample size. This is how the government should be operating, right? Test your solution on a small sample size. See if it works and in what ways it doesn't.
Right.
Fix it. Do it 5 times. It's slow, but it's faster if you do it on a smaller group of people. Right? And then don't expand it until it's working on a bigger group of people. Maybe expand it little bit by little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not every right in the Bill of Rights maybe works for the entire country.
Right.
Maybe freedom of speech and the right to bear arms should be,
outlawed.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Not here.
Like California. You guys are a perfect sample. Just take away your ability to free speech and everyone give your guns to the government.
Yeah.
California should be a no-gun zone.
For sure.
The fact that
I'd be happy with it.
Just
I'd be happy with that.
Disgusting that they have guns there.
Yeah.
Gun-toting people.
Exactly. Especially the law-abiding ones.
Give your guns to the government.
Every one of you. Exactly. And if
it's gonna fix it.
It'll fix everything.
But guess what? No. Actually, wrong.
Well, maybe. Listen, but at least it's on a sample size.
Here's the next
maybe
problem,
San Francisco should try it first.
The victim is always responsible. Because there's fucking wolves out there. And if you're not fucking responsible for that wolf, you're gonna die. Like, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
To not get eaten by that wolf.
It's so true, man.
And that's just the truth. And guess what? Sometimes you're not gonna even see it coming. It's gonna get you, and you're gonna get got. And there's nothing you did about it, but that's nature. And, like, you should prepare for as much as you possibly can. So whatever life throws at you, you have something to throw back.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, if you're not prepared for anything, it's like, good luck. There's wolves out there. You're gonna starve to death. And there's wolves out there. Like, you're really close to death now. Like,
for sure.
You know, it's like, the only thing you have is to take personal responsibility for everything. And once you do that, well, what you do first is you start you get an income, you start being, you start saving, you start investing, you start
and you can utilize this in day-to-day interactions.
making better decisions for the future of your generations,
Mhm.
to make sure that like you're not only setting yourself up but your child up.
Yeah.
We
were walking into Chipotle the other day, right? And you can catch yourself all the time doing these little things. The lady was holding the door. I mean, and she was being a complete idiot. The way she walked out, super slow, then she stood in the middle of the doorway holding the door. You remember this? You got frustrated, as any normal person would, right? Because she was being real dumb.
She was just being an idiot.
So you walked inside.
I just used the other door.
You kind of pulled open the other door, got frustrated. She
wasn't even frustrated.
You weren't necessarily that frustrated, but she gave me a look that she was like, "Wow, I was holding the door open for him," right? So I came up to you and I was like, "Wow, you kind of
Did you go through her door?
No, I walked through your door, but I gave her a smile and was like, "It's all good." You kind of walked in with just I'm gonna get in the door. You kind of swung it open.
I didn't even look at her.
But what I did is I came up to you. I know you don't care. You're missing the point. What I'm saying is I came up to you and said, the way you walked in, it's kind of maybe you rushed the situation, right? And you were like, well, yeah, but she was being an idiot. I was like, 100% true. This is a situation where 100% Blake is right. She was being an idiot. It was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled open the door, and he did what was potentially right in this situation as far as getting to the place at the right speed, right? But I said, maybe it wasn't functional.
Maybe
as far
it's a part of my philosophy to not let idiots think that they've done anything for me.
That's true. And I'm not disagreeing with that.
Maybe I actually find it more valuable to that person for me to be rude to her for being an idiot, because I believe in call-out culture.
I agree.
I believe in actually telling people
before we get there, that's fine. You
idiot.
Can make an argument for this later. This isn't the point. The point is that I came up to you and said, is it functional, right, in a social setting for you to act that way? For you to come across that way? Right? Now, you're about to make an argument for, in a certain way, it is functional. It's functional for the way that I think.
Right.
And that's fine. You can make an argument for it being functional.
Right.
In regular day-to-day interactions...
Is it functional for the way she thinks? That's the real question.
Potentially, maybe not. Maybe
but that's
yes.
what the whole premise is based off of. And I think that, ultimately...
You being maybe
I
a little
did her
rude.
Good.
Maybe.
Ultimately, I think she took good from it.
Maybe, or maybe she just thought you were an asshole.
But maybe she'll fix it next time.
Maybe. Or maybe
she'll
she just
be a
thinks
little bit
you
more
were...
deliberate about holding the door open for me.
Or
rather than
say,
walking through it when I'm not even close and then standing there and looking at me.
Or she'll say, why are people so impatient?
That's her. That's up to... I don't care what she does.
I know. I'm just saying.
She can do whatever she wants.
That's fine.
If she wants to live optimally, and if she was a follower of maybe what I would say, take everything as an opportunity to learn and grow and see, something happened that you didn't exactly...
take this opportunity.
But I already have the prerequisite to understanding that everything is an opportunity to learn and grow as is, and I'm learning how to develop myself in this world and acting as I want to act in order to be optimal, right? So I have to, maybe I won't do it like that again, but I also do a lot of things where I push on the border.
You met the threshold.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't do it like that again.
But maybe I will. Maybe I'm not done experimenting.
That's
right?
fine. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not done experimenting.
For sure. Never done experimenting. But
you're working towards what's most functional, optimal for every given situation. And we just talked for 3 minutes about you walking into Chipotle.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of coming back to where you were talking about, problems are very complex. If you're thinking about race, right, and the fact that she was Polish, maybe,
Yeah.
on top of all of this.
Yeah.
It's like you're on the wrong level of analysis.
Like you're not even
right?
learning how to interact with people around
Maybe
you.
she's just a human and she's stupid. And
Yeah.
maybe you're just a human and you're stupid. And like maybe there's a more optimal way to interact in that situation.
There definitely is.
Okay. When somebody holds the door open for you,
The more optimal way for that situation to be done was for her to deliberately come out of the door and open it out of the way of the door so I had a clear path to engage through the door.
absolutely.
So she failed.
Okay.
I let her know she failed by going through the other door and not respecting the fact that she was even trying to hold the door in the first place because she didn't do a good job. Because she did it like a woman does it, which was wrong. That was probably the first time she even held the door open for a man. She's probably used to a man holding the door open for her. And guess what? As a man, I'm actually really good at holding the door open for other people. I do it all the time. Everywhere I go, I will hold the door open for even 5 people. I don't even care. Like I don't even, it doesn't even affect my mind that I'm like now behind these people. I do that at Chipotle all the time. I hold the door open for a group of people. They can go in right in front of me. It doesn't even affect me. If there's someone walking in behind me, I automatically let them get in front of me in line, in the line. And 9 times out of 10, those people will tell me to go in front of them. And I love that when that happens, because that's how we should arrange our contracts, right? I flirt with you, then you give me a smooch, you know, and that's like not.
No, I liked that.
Yeah.
I like how you attached it to a relationship, because these are, if you can interact with people intimately,
Yeah.
right? And that's what you're saying. You're saying this is a moment of trust.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold this door open for you, right?
And I'm gonna do it right.
And I'm going to do it right, and I'm going
Everything's
to
gonna be
make sure that
lined
you're
up
taken care
for-
of.
Exactly. Everything's gonna be lined
and
up
really
for
out
your
of the
success.
goodness of my heart,
But
right?
not even. It's kind of selfish. Like, it is selfish in some sense for me. I like for people to look at me as more sophisticated and civilized than they look at other people. It's a greed thing. I want people to acknowledge me as being some sort of apex, like, smart being that is giving out wisdom to other people as some sort of cleric shaman. Like that is my archetype. I'm the cleric shaman. So I wish to bring that to other people. I want to bring them healing and health and shine as a light for them to look at, to replicate certain things that
And
they like
emulate,
about me.
yeah.
And I obviously have a long ways to go because I'm nowhere near close to being that. But, you know, that's what I do for a living. I'm a massage therapist. I rub, you know, I really do try to help
And holding
people.
the door open for
Yeah.
people is maybe good
It's
practice there.
It's a huge part of the client service. And now that's probably a big part of why I'm so in tune with my interactions with everyone all the time, is because every interaction I have with people on a daily basis is very intimate, like hyper intimate.
You're putting
Every
more energy into it.
massage I do is a very intimate new relationship that I have to explore and understand and get all the details of, to understand, all right, these things are happening, this pattern is happening, and this is leading you to not work out or to be self-conscious or to do this or to not reach your goals or not even to walk towards your goals. But hey, you're here getting a massage, so that's like, you know, it's good that I'm practicing talking about clients on film because, you know, you can't say names. It's like, you know, confidential and things like that. But I can still talk about clients.
You can
as
talk
long
about
as I don't
specifics.
give their names.
Yeah.
But one client checked a box for nervousness, and I brought that up to her in the session, and I was like, some people are nervous. I told her, a lot of people are actually nervous. Like, I'd say most people self-identify as being nervous, but I was like, only a select few will actually
Will check
check
the
the
box.
box for nervousness, right? So, and I, you know, just brought that up in a way that was
This is interesting that you
check the box, and I was like, it's okay to be nervous though, and I was like, you know, nervousness is actually really close to excitement. It's almost a very similar chemical pathway. It actually just depends on your, you know, your perspective on certain events, and, you know, you can look at things as being nervous, or you can use it as a tool to
actually feel your engagement.
Feel your engagement, right? And you know, it's just, I love having these experiments. Like, my job is to literally get people to come back to me for more healing. I
That's
don't
cool.
know how, so I have to actually heal them. So I'm trying to figure that out. Massage, it's a let me just get this out there. Any massage therapist who is 100% confident that they are a, 100%, perfect, I don't know, agent for chaos in life, and they are the whole package or anything like that, it's I'm sorry, that even massage therapists that work effortlessly to provide good quality service are always hunting and searching for more information to actually provide quality service that's going to bring about change and for the better. And it's hard to do that as a massage therapist. It's very hard to fix people,
especially every day.
Right, because patterns are so in depth on individuals. It's not their body that's the pattern of problematicness. It's their mind has made a pattern of problematicness that has deeply engraved its pattern into your muscular structure and how you move on a daily basis. How you move on a daily basis is fully connected to your mind and how you problem solve. So if you're a timid little mouse that can't handle problems, your body is a timid little mouse. And I massage timid mouses all the time, all the time. And it's sad. I'm like, well, you're a timid mouse. You need to start engaging with shit because you need to get stronger. And not until you strengthen your nervous system and your confidence and your serotonin, or it's not until then that you're going to experience less pain and less tension, and you actually have to serve your body's psychological needs, and you need to investigate.
That's an interesting thing that you just said. You need to service your body's psychological needs.
Yes.
Because, and this is one of the things that seems lost on neuroscientists and Western doctors in general.
You have more brain in your body than you do in your head.
Yeah. The nervous system extends to every part of your body. Right. Everything you feel is
innervated.
Brain.
It's
brain.
Tissue.
It's the same tissue.
It's the same tissue.
So
there's different kinds. There's autonomic nerves. There's receptive nerves. There's nerves of the brain that do different shit, but those are all kind of weird nerves too. There's just weird different nerves. There's actually millions of different types.
Just because it's a different type of nerve doesn't mean it's not part of the brain, or that it's not conscious in some way.
Exactly.
The conscious part of our brain.
Your body is fully conscious, and that's
it's what is the consciousness. It's what allows you to be conscious.
You live through your consciousness in your body, and that your body and the way it interacts with the world, you've developed a template that you've put on your body. It's connected to every part of your body, right? And you think you're a brain that's templated, mapped to your body. That's not really true though, because you're just everything. So you need to investigate into your body the same respect you give investigating into your brain. It's just true, and people don't do that at all. They just stimulate their brain all day long sitting on a computer, not stimulating their body at all.
That's why going and doing Muay Thai, I feel 1 week away from Muay Thai, 1 week, it's I can't think.
And I would say if you're suffering with autoimmune symptoms, something that will very much help you is start exercising before meals. Or after meals, but exercise in relationship to meals, because you increase blood flow. If you're weightlifting, you do your shoulders, you get a good pump on, you activate your shoulders and all those things. First of all, it's the amount of blood flow is increased in that area, and then if you do nutrients at the same time, the nutrients is naturally going to be in the area of higher blood flow. So things that are quick absorbing, like magnesium and things like that, are going to be more readily available to the area that you just stimulated. And that is just true for hunters. And 200 years ago, every hunt was in succession to nutrients. So if it was a successful hunt, then whatever it is they did to do that hunt was stimulated with blood flow, and they actually got stronger at pursuing that hunt. Our bodies need a goal. They need something to be working on. Your body doesn't work on anything because you don't stimulate it at all. You don't do any exercising. You just go to work. You stimulate your brain, and your body needs something to do. It needs something to build. It needs something to tear apart. So what's happening is your immune system is starting to attack itself, and some cells are starting to go rogue and just produce hundreds of millions of cells called cancer. It's our bodies are just doing these things because it has nothing better to do, because you don't stimulate your body in any way, but it's raging to do something. Our body's rage to do shit all the time. We need to give it shit to do, which means stimulating your body actively on a daily basis. You need to exercise. If you're not exercising, you're probably a Neanderthal that's considered like worried about racists or being racist.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like,
you definitely don't hear about racism on the bodybuilding forums of Reddit. Like they don't talk about that type of thing.
It's like, you know,
they're on a completely different level.
Yeah,
you know,
different wavelength.
Different wavelength is a way to put it. Yeah, for sure. So, and I just absolutely love that. I mean, I think it's so, when you hear it, it's so automatically true. You know, you are your body. Like, and I love the hunting. I love that hunting aspect of it. Right. And it's the same with women. And I think that one of the reasons that the suicide rate in women currently is lower than men, the average men, is because women are made to have children. And a lot more women are still childbearing and taking care of children. So their body is undergoing the same processes that it has for hundreds of thousands of years.
Right.
Whereas men are not doing the same thing at all. They're zero of what their body has been evolutionarily.
Because there's still a lot of men out there who are hunting and are getting deals and doing
they're hunting
and they work out, and there's a lot of men. Most people who work out probably men. I'd say maybe not. I don't know.
I don't actually know. That would be an interesting to look up, like the statistics on exercise. Yeah. Either way, there are men who are.
If you took a random man out of any sample and you asked if they worked out, would it be more likely than any woman out of any sample?
I would say this is one of those distribution things as well, right? So the distribution, it looks similar for men and women, but might be skewed to the left for women. So your bottom end of women who don't work out, right? They never work out. Your bottom end of men who don't work out maybe work out slightly more than your bottom end of women. Up at the top right, your top of women work out like a lot,
way
more than your average men. Yes, but right. So this is one of those situations.
The top of the men but more men might work out more. I don't know.
There are more men.
It would be worth looking into.
But there are potentially more men that work out harder.
I think working out is a crucial piece of self-care.
But wouldn't you say that more men are not integrating with their body than women? Women have to integrate with their body during childbirth.
Yeah, I think women are more connected to their body in fundamental ways, and that like more women get massages than men. A lot of men don't even like to get massages.
Yeah.
They don't even like to go into their body at all.
For sure.
They're not even comfortable.
Okay,
which is honestly really
the suicide rate for men is really, really high. This is one of those problems that, like, especially in the UK and stuff like that.
So this is really interesting because I've been having this other thought that's been very weird. But I've been thinking about like what the psychological consequences of the differences in genitalia are between genders. And like, you know,
I'm interested.
Like a dick is something that's very much in front of you. And it's something you have that you've always had, that you've always seen. And a vagina is something that's like under you and within you, and something that's like a hole that you don't really like confront until you confront it at the age of 13. And then I think that there's some sort of weird psychological roller coaster that like women are acting out finding their vaginas in the real world, right? Like we can never air this podcast, but
no, we can. That's just fine.
Like
I think what you're saying, I mean, just keep saying.
Well, I think once women discover that they can confront their vagina, it's like the most empowering thing ever, because I think girls, I don't know for sure, but I feel like it's something that they can't confront nearly as easy as a boy can confront his dick. Like, I think a boy confronts his dick very early, and just, it's like his dick, and it's like out there, and like they can be hang loosey and cool, and what I ran around naked as a kid, I had no shame. But like, I don't know if girls interact with their parts the same way boys do, right?
I mean, it does. I don't know if you've completely articulated the problem yet, but it does seem interesting, right, in the way that men interact with the world versus the way women interact with the world. It is similar to the style of the way that their genitalia presents itself in the world,
and the way they interact with their own genitalia in the world.
Women
like women's muscles are like their legs are closed, like they come together and they fit together, like together.
The way their hips are
the
literally
hips
created.
angle the legs to come together, right? Whereas in guys, we sit with our legs splayed out, and that's more comfortable, right? Because our hips are angled like that because we're open.
Which is
whereas women
kind of
are more
weird.
shut.
Which is kind of weird because women birth children, so you would think evolutionarily that it doesn't necessarily make sense for their hips to point their legs inward.
Yeah, but,
right.
Well, that makes bigger hips, right? The bigger the hips, the more likely they are to come together.
Okay. No, I guess
Right.
I guess I see what you're saying.
So it's a bigger pelvis.
So we have thinner hips, and that's why our legs come out.
Kind of, yes. Our hips are not shaped like women's hips. It's actually very different.
Like they're two different shapes completely.
Yeah, they're very different.
So that's interesting. But I mean, it's a problem to maybe continue into the future and articulate more.
Well, you talk about like Freud and some of his ideas about like child
and Freud was a genius in a lot of ways. I mean, he wasn't a perfect psychologist.
He talked a lot about genitalia, I feel like, and the effect of...
I haven't read
because women
I haven't read his book.
Women have this thing called dick envy.
Penis envy?
Penis envy. That's like an actual psychological event where they wish they had a dick.
It actually happens?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was like well documented.
By who?
Freud. I swear I learned about that in psychology. Penis envy. We learned about that. Why would I learn about that?
If it wasn't like...
Supposed envy. Supposed.
So dictionary.com has it as supposed. It's a theorized stage by Sigmund Freud. So it's a theory. I don't know if it was ever...
Freud theory, like, isn't that, like, how good was his... it's Freud we're talking about, isn't that?
He wasn't an idiot, for sure. I mean, he had certain things that were good and certain things that were not that intelligent, for sure. I mean, he wasn't perfect.
You know, and I think the reason I've been thinking about this stuff is I'm having a daughter, and I want to just learn how to interact with her in a way that's very empowering to her. I want her to just be, you know, confident and live in this world.
This is one of the
optimally,
things
you know?
It would be so nice for you to have other dads on, and maybe even moms on, you know. The Dadcast having moms on would not be necessarily a horrible idea.
No, it'd be a great thing.
So, yeah, I mean...
Lily probably wouldn't be too cool with that, like me just talking to a bunch of moms.
Why not?
I don't know, that's kind of weird.
It's informative. You're informing
right.
the father. Informing the spirit of the father by the spirit of the mother is an integral part of being a dad.
What's the optimal way of being a dad?
Listen to your wife. I mean, for sure, listen to the mother of your child, because she knows shit that you just don't know intuitively. So, I mean, definitely having women on the Dadcast to maybe
I definitely
play out some of these.
Oh.
It's interesting how when you talk to women, and sometimes you dig, so as men, sometimes we dig under each other's like comfort zones readily and easily. It happens in locker rooms. It happens pretty naturally. You can dig under the comfort zone of a normal conversation that you would have in a coffee shop. And for the most part, men deal with that pretty well. It's not very often that you'll do that, even with your own girlfriend, right? Or your wife, that you'll dig under that comfort zone of maybe like talking about periods, menopause, things like their body, which it seems weird, but not often. I mean, I've had two very serious relationships. That stuff just doesn't get into that often.
Right.
It's just not
Especially
a conversation.
When you're younger.
Especially when you're younger. Okay, so that's interesting, right? That
like,
men,
why aren't we talk? We can, like, women should be able to talk about anything.
You would think. So this is the other thing.
Breastfeeding, whatever it is, it should all be on the conversation.
When I have in the past, and this might just be me, and so I don't know what other people's experiences are with this. When I have in the past given my intuitive take on how a woman feels about something pertaining her body, I haven't been shut down. There's usually a little piece of truth in something that I'm like offering, you know, like what you've just said. It's like, I don't understand this completely, but there's some way that the way that women interact with their genitalia and the way that boys interact with their genitalia are two very different ways.
And I'm talking about not like you that's more like how your body physically is at every level of analysis.
Exactly.
So,
and that might in some ways, like
there's differences, so there has to be psychological differences.
we
right?
just
Like,
got
what
through
is it to
talking
develop
20 minutes
boobs?
about
Like, that's a psychological event in a woman's life when they
Exactly.
get boobs, you know.
yes,
like
it's very
men don't have that psychological
definitely.
event, you know.
Well,
so
what do we have? We build muscle, right? And maybe
Yeah.
like we start showing our clavicles and create an Adam's apple.
Yeah.
Those are
Get a
psychological
stronger
events.
jawline. Yeah,
Stronger
yeah,
jawline. Those
yeah.
are psychological events
For
to some
sure.
extent,
Yeah,
right?
but
we
they're not.
interact
That's
with
not
them.
as big of a change.
I would agree.
or
I would
anything like
definitely
that,
agree
you know?
with you. Women undergo more transformative physical events.
Yes.
For sure,
Which is why,
bar none.
like, women think are better at confronting their body than men are, because
Exactly.
they're forced to confront their
Which
body
is what we were
when they're
talking
13 at a very
Yeah.
weird, way. Like, it's like a total thing that men just do not have to do.
But I guarantee if we had like mom down here,
Yeah.
there would be pieces of what we're saying, even though we're both boys and we've never had this conversation with a girl before, she would be like, yeah, that's right. Like,
Yeah.
there are these pieces of my life that line up exactly with what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, and so I wish that more of these conversations were happening, because I don't think that men and women are having these conversations. Even scientists. You know, I remember
just
when I was
seems
going through
fringy
college.
to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't even feel comfortable talking about it, and it's so stupid.
You were like, we can't even put this podcast up because of it. It's like, why?
Yeah.
All you're talking about is how you are understanding a woman's body.
Yeah.
That's an important thing for a father who's about to have a daughter to understand before he has the fucking daughter.
Exactly.
Right? You would hope so. Like, you
Yeah.
had to have sex with a woman's body to do that.
For sure.
Well, fuck. You
Yeah.
can't even talk about it.
And
so
now
this
I'm
is
going to be
like,
confronting this woman's body in a very different way than it's very, like, now I'm the father of my child, and it's like, I have to clean my baby, and there's, I've talked to dads, like, they're weird about cleaning their daughters.
Are they?
Yeah, it's weird, like, I don't even need to mention names, but I've had at least a couple dads mention it as being weird to them, and you can't cast too much judgment, because it is kind of weird, you have to.
interesting.
You also have to learn.
I mean, I'm not about to be a father of a daughter, so
you
I've
have
never
to
even
learn-
had this
well, you have
conversation
to
with
learn
other
how
men.
to clean the baby properly, right? So,
Yes.
there's directional things that are helpful, like,
For sure.
don't want to get
Go-
everything into the wrong area.
No, exactly.
So-
You want to wipe front to back instead of back to front. For
Exactly.
sure. That's
Yeah.
an important piece
Exactly.
of the situation.
Yeah. But, it's weird shit, It's like, that's something I've never even thought about confronting before, that now I'm literally going to be confronting, in
Yeah.
August.
And maybe you want to actually have had maybe some important conversations so that you do it not stupid.
Right. Exactly. For sure.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like, but it does. It's like you're stretching. You're stretching.
Yeah.
You're uncomfortable having this
Oh, yeah.
conversation.
For sure.
Why?
Because I don't want to say something that makes me seem perverse or like bad intention in any way. Like, I want to tread carefully on this conversation. I want to pay it respect, because, like, talking about how we deal with our children and raise our children and things of this nature,
And the
it's
way
like,
we interact with women.
yeah,
It's it's sensitive.
it's just so sensitive.
It's sensitive.
And I'm good with it. I'll take it. I just have
You're okay
such-
with the sensitivity
well,
of it?
I'm so good. I strive to be the best good I can give, and I know that whatever situation I'm ever in, I'm always going to strive to do my best to make the best good decision for God. Like, and I would even say for God, because that's what it ultimately is
Definitely.
decisions
For the
I would
highest
make
good.
for the highest good. And
Yes.
that's how I confront the world at every level of analysis. But I'm so afraid of making mistakes and doing things or hurting people, or like, I've done things that I wouldn't do, like, before,
For sure.
so many times, that I just don't trust myself. And I'm very precautious about just understanding my shadow and being being fully in control of myself, because it takes full attention to be within full control. And if you lose attention, or if you participate in a bad behavior too often, then it can just fuck your brain up, and it's not good to do that. It's just sad, because I think people, they don't realize what they're capable of, and that's where they go wrong. You have to realize what you're capable of, and you have to tame your beast, and do that, and that's where
It's like
you
a
start
daily battle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
But to have that philosophy, and then me talking about such sensitive information, that I am kind of a Neanderthal. I feel like not I feel clumsy with sensitive information.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting also that, so you're 22.
Yeah, I'm just a baby.
I agree, but it's interesting that we're just now kind of scratching the surface of some of these maybe really important things, right? Like a woman's body and taking care of a female child as a male. Okay, so these are sensitive topics, right? It seems interesting, or at least confusing to me, that...
But maybe even the fact of saying it's a sensitive topic is like us being like...
sensitive about it.
Yeah, and like maybe it's wrong to even call it that.
No,
like,
but I wouldn't necessarily
I'm just
say
trying
that.
to be honest.
No,
know?
you're being honest, and I think what you're saying is there's a culture around this that you've encountered that has made you feel this way about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, one of the really interesting things to me, and I did some research on this, is like, for all of human history, people essentially lived in single huts,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were still having children. It's happening all the time.
Right.
Okay, well, when you have 2 children living in your hut, you're still having children. This was happening,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay, well, it's super taboo to say, like I looked this up.
We don't know.
I looked this up.
We don't know how they felt about having sex in front of their children.
In front of their children.
We don't know.
It's interesting that we're like at a point in our life now.
You see it.
In
You
our
actually see it
development.
on TV shows where like they're doing it in front of a baby, and they're like, "Oh, we shouldn't do this," but then like they laugh about it and
But
do
they
it
laugh
anyway.
about it and do it anyway.
It's like,
so there's like this.
we're
thing-
like trying to figure out how do we interact with babies and sex at the same time.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
for sure. And there's definitely an
But
age
like,
where it
don't have
becomes
sex
like,
in front of a toddler. Like that's a little
Maybe-
bit too much. or-
yeah, exactly. Okay, but like what were people doing? And I heard an argument like, when the kids were outside, it's like mom and dad, get 5 minutes. It's like that's when things were going down. So, I don't know how the rest of human history was,
Yeah.
but it definitely is interesting that we don't have a set of rules for it yet.
Yeah, or can even talk about it comfortably.
Yeah, we have a set of rules for so many things, right? There's a set of rules for using the restroom.
Yeah.
Every person there, it's not a question. You know how to go into a bathroom and use the restroom.
Yeah.
How to take off your pants, use a restroom.
Yeah.
It's super uncomfortable when somebody with, everybody is uncomfortable with somebody with like autism or something else pulls down their pants in front of a urinal. That's a rule. You don't break that rule.
Yeah.
Of course, that rule's being broken, so it makes everybody uncomfortable.
Right. And there's obviously certain cases where you don't judge
And it's
the
just
situation.
no. I'm not talking about judging the situation. I'm just saying there's a rule there.
I think a better example would be like an 8-year-old. Like if
Yeah,
an
same-
8-year-old
yeah,
is
yeah.
still pulling
That's
his
a,
pants
no,
all the way
that's
down or
that's
something.
a good. That's a
Yeah.
better. That's maybe a better one because the 8-year-old is like still learning the rules.
Right.
Well, for sex, we don't have any rules.
Right.
Nobody's articulated any
and I
rules.
think like it's important for us to do that. It's like no. I'm not just trying to make an argument that you should abstain from sex. I'm trying to say like maybe you actually should abstain from sex. Like maybe that's actually a more optimal way of getting through high school. But like I've been thinking a lot about this because Lily is complaining about, some of the coworkers at work, like, they're teenagers, so all they talk about is like, oh my gosh, like who are you doing? Who am I doing? Like doing. But
Gross.
like, no one's actually doing anybody because they're all virgins. Like they don't actually know anything, but that's all they can talk about. Like it's such an important part to
interesting.
master of psychological before you can abstractly think about complex issues, you have to first get under control what your dick is, and which
Yeah.
honestly means I think using it a couple of times just to see what's going on, and then you understand like, oh, that's what's going on. Some people get addicted to that for the rest of their life. It's really sad actually. So it's like, but the point is that it's almost a part, like it's just a part of cycle. You have to master that before you can get beyond it, and I think that we should encourage, obviously not sex, but what I think I want to do for my daughter is encourage her to have relationships with boys all throughout school, and the relationship can obviously change as she gets older, but I want to encourage her to have friends that are boys. Definitely, definitely make friends that are boys and try to set really good boundaries with them, because they might hit you, They don't really know how to work themselves yet, so they're still figuring things out. They might play with you like you're a boy, and then they might hurt you, and you need to be able to draw a line and say, you do not hurt me, to teach the boy, and also to practice drawing a line for yourself. And so as, you know, the relationships get more complex, you know, I remember in 4th and 5th grade, I was very interested in having a girlfriend. At 4th and 5th grade, I wanted a girlfriend that was just mine, that was a girl. That was my girlfriend, that we were just like, you know, exclusive friendship almost for boy and girl.
Interesting.
I don't know why I wanted that at such a young age, but, you know, I have no idea why. But
yeah, I don't know if
I was thinking about that as a little boy in 4th grade, that's what little boys are going to be thinking about in 4th grade and 5th grade, as far as I'm concerned. So I want her to be able to combat that situation when it comes to it. If a boy asks her to be his girlfriend, that's different than just being a friendship. So then that would be like, maybe you guys hold hands, maybe like that, you know, you eat lunch together at the playground, whatever, maybe you exchange some love notes every once in a while, whatever it looks like at that level of analysis. I'm not going to discourage it in any way about like you're not gonna date or anything like that. I'm going to encourage the proper ways to have healthy boundaries and relationships with boys at every age. And, you know, when she wants a boyfriend, probably when she's around 15 or 16, and I'm gonna
maybe even younger.
Definitely
middle school.
I'll be like, middle school for sure. I'll be like, no problem. Like, you've accumulated practice your whole life on how to deal with this situation. You're prepared because I've talked to you about your friendships with your, you know, with your boyfriends.
And if you're invested enough, you'll actually be able to point out, do you remember this boy from this age?
Yeah.
This is how you interacted with him. Do you remember this boy from this age?
Right.
This is how you interted with him. These were all you.
And the child is building on itself.
Exactly.
So you can bring up past things and be like, remember you were like this, now we're working on you doing it like this. And, you know, like, she's going to come across problems that if I can draw to the past and be like, you've had this problem before, this is what we did to fix it that time, what do you think is the best solution moving forward now? You know, you've solved these things before. You understand how to confront problems, and any problem that you have to confront, I'm going to equip you, and I'm going to turn her into a fucking assassin. I'm not even kidding.
For sure.
No
Teach
matter
her the jujitsu.
Yeah, she's never going to be in a place where she can be taken advantage of if I can help it. And I will do everything in my power to convince her to never get intoxicated around men that she doesn't know or trust, or especially doesn't know or trust. Be hesitant to get intoxicated around men you know and trust.
I agree.
Because if they're intoxicated, we're all learning how to set boundaries, and there's going to be things that happen that not everyone is comfortable with, because you have to fuck up before you can figure out where to go moving forward.
This happens in high school all the time, where people who know each other...
She said, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I wanted it.
People do stupid things all the time, and it's not necessarily the boy's fault, and it's not the girl's fault.
And sometimes they do actually really terrible things, where like the whole group gets behind like fucking with someone who's fucked up, and then it turns into something even worse, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Like, we just got done watching the Slaughter Show on Netflix, and the second season or the first season or whatever is all about like a camp group who kills like one of the people like kind of on accident, and it's a brutal, it's a cool little like scream slasher show, but it's
Lily
pretty
loves
it's
those.
like, I know she does, but the point is things happen, man. Like, that's not far off from reality. Like, you can go, like, if you want to like teach someone a lesson and you go and like get them super drunk, and like people die doing that, and you can kill someone, and some people as teenagers kill other people. Can you imagine living that life? You know, that's very, I know a lot of people who have hit people and killed them. No, I don't know a lot of people, but I know people through people, and that happens. You hit someone, you're driving, you kill them. That, you know, you have to serve time for that. First of all, you have to get probation, and like at minimum maybe even jail time, who knows. Just depends on the, you know, but like that's going to affect you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you know, we have complex problems as a society that we're all dealing with, and like race doesn't even come close to touching any of these conversations that we're
Yeah, I
trying
know.
to have now. And the fact that no one's even willing to talk about these things, the actual uncomfortable things
Definitely.
of day-to-day life, how to be a good dad, how to tread on conversations with, you know, tact and be, you know, thoughtful
better
and
person.
civilized and
Yeah.
do it God's way and be right.
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking about child development and like having, you know, relationships with your daughter, having relationships with boys, I was gonna bring up the taboo subject of like, dude, like little boys and little girls get naked together. Happens literally all the time.
It's true.
They aren't having sex.
They're going to investigate.
They have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like, if you find your tiny 2-year-old daughter and a tiny 2 or 3-year-old boy naked together, they're not having sex. Like, don't put that on them.
Right.
Like, and I read this message board once where these parents were like just talking such mad shit. It's like, dude, this is what comes out of not being able to talk about these things. You know,
Right.
It's like, if you had this conversation with somebody at some point,
Right.
you'd
And
see,
I've
you'd understand
actually,
that this is
in
fine.
massage school, one of the people I went to massage school with, she had a son who got naked in front of a girl. And they were young, really young, obviously. And, you know, she just felt so ashamed. And I'm like, I told her, I was like, do not feel ashamed. I got naked in front of plenty of people when I was a little
Totally.
kid. I didn't know what I was doing,
No,
you know?
it's like, I mean, I showed my butthole to a girl. It's like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, here you go, you know.
Check it out.
Like, I've got one of those too, you know. It's like, what the fuck, you know. I didn't know. There was nothing going on there, you know. It's like, little kids are kids, you know. It's like, so it's interesting that we do very weird things as people, and I think a lot of it comes out of, you know, I can't believe that we're not having political conversations about sex when abortion is happening like way too much.
That doesn't need to happen.
We could just fix the whole problem by
addressing the issue.
by addressing sex.
Yeah.
By just addressing
is
sex.
it optimal to have babies? Probably after you have an income. All right. Probably shouldn't be having sex until you have an income that can at least support yourself.
Like, we have birth control, we have things,
you
but
would say, oh, that's so conservative, dude. It's like, dude, it's not that conservative. Like, you know, I mean, I waited till I got out of high school, at least.
I also waited till I got out of high school. I mean, and now looking back, I wish I would have waited longer.
Me too.
I mean, there's
150%.
for sure a piece of me now that's like, dude, if I was still a virgin,
Didn't need it.
It'd be
Did not need sex.
so
Men,
dope.
you do not need sex at all.
Yeah.
You don't.
if you're a young man, just
You
like
don't need it.
be the dope ass dude who is a virgin
Yeah,
forever.
for sure.
And it's like, and you know, be a good man.
Yes.
Be a man that
But
that
you
women
don't need
want.
you don't need
but-
to have sex to develop your character. And I think that's how I hijacked myself into doing it, is to develop my character or to become more than what I currently was. You don't need it. You just don't even need that.
Yeah.
You got other things that you need to work on. You know, your dick it knows how to work itself. You don't need to practice. Like trust me, when push comes to shove, you're gonna be just fine. Like it's your body knows what to do. You know, you don't need
Definitely.
to fucking practice.
I don't remember exactly how I talked myself into it. I think my big talking point to myself was, I've waited longer than all my friends.
Yeah.
I don't know another virgin. That was essentially what did it for me.
I was like prideful. Yeah, that's it. I think I got to the place where I was like, all right, I'm definitely.
I had made it.
I'm cooler than everyone else, so fuck them.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I would say that's not a good place to stop it. Right, just because you've made it past everyone else.
No, keep going.
Keep
Everyone
going.
needs to. It's just not optimal. You, like, why are you working on your physical relationship with a woman when you don't even know how to converse with her and get to know her as a human? And like, you're asking her what her favorite
It's so
colors
funny.
are.
No, I know, it's
You know,
so
like-
funny. I feel like we sound like dads. I mean, literally, this is like things I've heard, you know, when I was like
Yeah, it's
in
like,
middle
fuck
school.
off, Dad. Fuck this bitch. Let's go.
In middle school, I definitely remember having a conversation with like an older college kid who was like, "Dude, you don't need to have sex. Like, it's like not a big deal, dude." And I was just like, "No, I don't. You're so stupid. Like, you don't know what the fuck
Dude,
you're
when
talking
I was in
about."
8th grade, and I think even freshman, I told all my friends that I was not going to have sex till I was married, and I was not smoking weed. Ever.
Dude, that's so funny because I said the same exact thing.
You smoked weed in 8th grade, though.
That's true. But I told people I wasn't going to. But the sex thing I was always for real about because
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something
But I
I
always
need.
told people that I was never going to smoke weed, and that's the devil's drug and all this shit. And now it's like a daily thing for me. 100% a daily thing. Cannabis is not a bad thing. There's no need to ostracize it in any way.
Yeah,
It's-
smoke some weed instead of having sex. That would be.
Yeah, if you
I mean,
are a
at
young man,
18.
you need to start smoking a shit ton of weed, like every day, with tact, though. I'm not
Wait,
talking about
how young?
20,
That's maybe a little too young.
21.
The government's number.
Dude, listen, I know a lot of dudes, like, the common denominator between dudes who are chill and are doing all right and are handling their shit are dudes who smoke weed, like, guaranteed. I know a lot of dudes.
Okay, well, I still know a lot of dudes who smoke a lot of weed who do not have their shit together.
Like who?
I'm not going to name names.
They're not dudes. Are you talking about our friend group? Oh, calling you out, motherfucker.
I'm just saying that, like, I mean, I don't have my shit together, so I guess I can't really talk
Yeah, and
any
look
shit.
at you.
Yeah.
Don't smoke
I
weed.
don't smoke weed,
like-
and my life is a mess.
So it's like you're double failing. My life's a mess, but I smoke weed, so it's chill. Just kidding.
Look, this is what we've had up on the TV. Clitoris to the vagina, right on the Wikipedia
Dude, see, but
page.
psychosexual development, like these are all things that play a fundamental role in our development as humans.
I definitely.
Do you remember what you thought about as a kid?
I definitely, when I try to
Like
think back,
thinking
one
about
of the
my
things,
dick was probably like a large part of
Yeah.
what I had to think about on a daily basis.
One of the things I kind of
I don't know why.
am frustrated by almost is that I didn't have people around me who were more in tune with their sexuality.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, I mean,
Like I
we
wanna
were
tell my-
talking about
like,
sex when I was in 6th grade. We were talking about all of the things that Josiah had done to a girl, which included a list on a piece of college ruled paper. I mean, literally, we're talking 6th grade. For
Sixth
sure.
grade?
Easily.
What?
Blowjobs and anal and fucking,
way.
this is like before I had even seen porn, right?
We definitely can't air that part.
Why not?
Josiah, you don't want to call him out for being a thug 6th grader.
No, he hadn't done anything yet, right?
Oh.
Of course not.
Oh, but
Of
it was a list of like
course not.
everything to do.
Of course, right? It was just talking shit, right?
Oh.
It's like he just had like come up with this list of fucking shit.
Did he like Google it?
Who knows where
How did he
came
learn
up- I'm
blowjobs
sure-
in 6th grade?
I don't know. Probably like one of his
Anal.
cousins or something like that. You know,
Brutal.
it's like just that like he had just learned these words and then
Wrote them down.
It's like he didn't even know what they
Yeah.
were.
So that's a large part of what you thought about, probably.
That's what I'm saying is like when I was young.
Like, what are the things you can remember thinking about? Like, it's shit like that. you know,
Definitely.
where it's like, what the
and
fuck was
so
I
in
doing?
5th grade, I remember having a friend, a friend who was a girl, and we like wanted to create a skateboarding T-shirt brand together. And I went over to her house and we hung out and played video game, played Tony Hawk together and stuff like that. Like there was nothing in my mind, nothing at all.
Mm.
that I can remember now. Maybe kissing her, right? Maybe like I want to kiss her or something like that. It never happened that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was on the agenda, or maybe I just wanted to be friends.
Yeah.
Maybe she wanted to kiss me or something like that. Because
Yeah.
girls do
I don't think you
definitely
were
develop
attracted
faster.
to her.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
she may have been attracted to me because I remember when I stopped hanging out with her as much, there were definitely some feelings of animosity. So that's possible. And girls definitely develop before boys.
Yeah.
She may have wanted to kiss me
Yeah.
when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
I literally was not
About it.
into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was way
I
more...
doubt. In 5th grade, I doubt she was thinking about that. I mean, I was not thinking about kissing in 5th grade. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking about it, but not even coming close to doing it. When did I? Can't remember.
I think my first kiss... God, I don't even know.
I think it was after 6th grade.
I think it was after 6th grade as well.
Yeah, it was after 6th. It was 6th grade summer going into 7th grade.
Yeah. Yeah. I think mine was at Kids Night Out.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like at Kids Night Out at the rec center.
Nice.
How old would I have been? Maybe between 5th and 6th, and or 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right. Sometime at that point.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what, my first very physical time with a girl was not long after the kissing. That was between, I think, 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think
and then
now.
it just goes quick.
And then boom! It's like boom!
Touching dicks and shit.
Well, not me, but but you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that's only 4 years.
Yeah.
In 4 years, I was ready to pretty much be doing everything except for what I had decided I wasn't going to do, which was have sex. It was like I was ready at 8th grade. I mean, I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so weird.
Nobody had talked to me about sex before that point.
No.
Dad didn't get to that conversation until I had started
Like
high school.
Yeah.
And I'm going to remember that when I have a
But
kid.
that conversation needs to come much earlier.
Way earlier.
Yeah. Like we
Like-
need to,
like
especially with like
6th
being
or
able to
7th
send
grade.
naked images now.
For sure,
Like we need to
dude.
really talk to children about not doing that because it's like it's so
Yeah.
addicting
Dude,
and
okay,
it's
so
like you
I
want
did
to do
that. I was doing that definitely in 6th and 7th grade. For
Yeah.
sure. The naked images, because we had just all started getting cell phones.
Yeah.
And that was like first, like, dude, I was in the first generation of...
Were you getting like pictures of like just showing the bra, like just like not even anything, just showing like the bra?
I don't remember. Like, I definitely
it was
remember
so silly. Like it was
we
like
sexted. Josiah, Avery, and I all sexted every girl, and like it was just happening. You know, it was because we all had our first phone.
weird.
Flip phones
That's
had just
weird. I
happened
didn't
for
think
middle
that happened.
schoolers.
I'd never sent like dick pics.
So yeah, I did
Huh.
for sure. But part of it was the size of our group, and like everyone was saying they were doing it, and so like things got
Weird.
really
You guys were all
messy.
just down.
Dude.
That's so weird.
But it was definitely not good.
Yeah.
It was scarring. I mean, now thinking
fucked
back,
up.
like I definitely had hurt myself in ways
Yeah.
by doing that.
Maybe other people, maybe they hurt
and maybe
themselves.
yeah, exactly. And dude, I remember like, I mean, first of all, I think our middle school was just too small and too sheltered. Like things got out of hand once we all got cell phones. Because it's like nobody had any conversations, definitely not happening in school.
None of you, and in such a sheltered environment, that's all sheltered parents who are not about to be talking about any of these things to their children.
Exactly. So
that they
things
think are still completely
Yes.
innocent.
So things got out of hand so fast. It's like,
And you have no weapons to deal with this new chaos of problems that you're now having to
no,
understand.
Mom did pretty good. She got me 2 books. Like So You're About to Be a Teenager. Like when I was 11 and
I
12.
didn't read those.
Oh, dude, that So You're About to Be a Teenager.
I just took what you said about them,
dude,
I think.
it like So You're About to Be a Teenager. I wonder if that book is still available. If you're a parent and you're thinking about getting a book for like your 11 or 12-year-old, I think So You're About to Be a Teenager was...
Also, I'm planning on writing for that exact demographic as well.
Oh, are you?
I'm actually very interested in writing for the 12
I think it's an amazing... I think it's
18-year-old, because if you can convince them that it's worth reading and you can write something that's worth their time,
Yeah.
then I know you can just, they're so easy to talk to.
For sure. And I was so receptive. I remember I read the chapter on masturbation 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Because it was the only place I could get real information about it.
Yeah.
You know, it was the only place that I got to learn anything about what was happening there.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
I mean,
which is so strange.
it's so strange.
Yeah.
I couldn't have that conversation with my parents. No. You know, and then
you're not gonna go downstairs and ask Dad, like, you know, I wouldn't even handle that well if he like brought it up with me.
It up. Exactly. So
like,
the other thing is that
you're so embarrassed
but this
as a kid, which is so weird.
It is funny. I think part of that has to do with your parents,
like insecurity.
though. I think part of that has to do with your parents. Like, parents need to be...
It was my fault. I didn't talk to Mom about anything.
But I think part of it comes with the fact that you're uncomfortable because these things haven't been brought up. If you're having conversations about touching and kissing and physical parts of your body and stuff like that with your parents,
right?
You know, and maybe, like, you know, one of the things that got really weird for me, you know, and I remember this in my development as a kid, is like the point at which Dad stopped taking baths with us. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember...
It was older for me, right? You were younger.
Yeah. I don't remember when Dad stopped taking baths with us, but I do remember at one point in time walking into Dad's bathroom while he was in the bath, and it was unacceptable.
So, exactly. I don't like that. He broke a part of me and my ability to communicate with him by drawing this line at the wrong point.
Yeah.
I would have probably been fine seeing my own father naked, like, consistently up until I was in middle school. And then I would have chosen on my own, okay, I don't, like, you need your privacy, I need my privacy. Yeah. It would have come naturally.
Right. But it wouldn't have been, what's the word? Scarring to see Dad naked as young children or anything like that.
It never, when I was a kid, there was nothing wrong there.
Yeah.
Right?
Ever.
I mean, I remember asking questions about what he looked like and stuff like that. Like, I was just a child.
Yeah.
He made that decision to stop having
which
that.
We still took baths with each other
We
for
definitely did.
Ever.
for forever. And that was great. You know, I decided when I was like 12, I think it was like I had started growing hair, and then I was like, okay, I was essentially done taking baths with you. You know, I was growing up.
Which I don't think I had a problem with.
No, I mean, it was very natural for me.
You know what was a major problem for me, though, growing up, was taking showers by myself. I was so scared. Petrified. Every shower I took.
Something bothered you about it.
I thought something was going to get me all the time.
Interesting.
I don't know why. It makes me even tear up, but...
That's so weird.
I was so...
petrified of being in the shower by yourself.
Yeah, the shower by myself or my room in the dark. I just couldn't handle it there for some reason.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So these are weird things. I mean, I know that Dad's choice to cut that off at a weird time, you know, it's like...
I didn't even think about that. I was facing a new environment of showering by myself.
Completely alone
as being why I was scared of something trying to get me. But that's probably
like,
what
why
the
didn't Dad
was.
maybe come
like
take
maybe,
a couple of showers with you first
maybe
and show you how to do it?
Like in that shower, like, and showed me, like,
yeah.
But he showed us how to scrub ourselves, and I took a lot of like comfort in that. I was good at washing my body because Dad taught us how to do it thoroughly and how to get your back.
Yep.
You know.
Yes, and those were all times where Dad was naked in the shower with us.
Weird. I don't even remember it that way.
Of course not, because you're not thinking about Dad being naked.
But I remember learning the lessons. That's for sure. He taught us how to wash our hair. He taught us how to do everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why? So this is like a very touchy subject. How long do you let your children seeing you naked?
Yeah.
How long? Like, is it okay for a daughter to see her father naked up until she's 11 years old?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Why not?
She should be very comfortable.
I'm her father.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm her father.
Yeah.
I'm the one man. She should know what my body looks like, and she should know who I am because I'm the one who can take care
I
of
am
her.
her masculine energy.
That's
and
it.
this is another thing. Like, I've been reading books about being fathers to daughters, and like written by daughters.
Oh,
saying
good.
that
Good.
you are my masculine energy, my comfort anywhere. Their dad. And you know that there's problems if you don't have a father in your home, and you don't even have a father figure. Lily, you know, her dad wasn't there. He left. It was a weird situation. It's weird how it unraveled, but he left. But Kevin came when she was like 5. So think about all the psychological impacts of not having a dad for that time, being raised by her aunts, you know, all these things. She moved in and out of places, and the whole time the one constant was horses. And I think that's why she's so deeply drawn to that, is throughout all the chaos of her childhood and the changing of dad to not having dad to having Kevin, who was not a very, you know, he had to stumble around like an idiot before he could be a good father, and he's a really good
Just
man.
like anybody
Kevin
does.
is a great man, but I think he had a short temper, and I think Lily was afraid of making anyone mad or stepping outside of boundaries, and she didn't practice it very often. You know, she's very she's not really willing to put herself in a position where she has to say sorry, because she doesn't know how to apologize, because she never crossed any boundaries. She never apologized because she never did anything wrong her whole childhood, and she doesn't know how to do things wrong. So then, you know, that can come with a lot of problems, because if you don't know how to confront anything, you know, because you don't want to do something wrong, so you don't confront it at all, then you're just missing out. And she thinks she's obviously wicked smart and can handle pretty much anything, but, you know, just fundamentally, there's areas we all have to work on, you
Definitely.
know, and that's one of hers. Like, she does not know how to apologize.
How would her life have been different? I mean, it's interesting to hear that. It's like one of the differences between the two of you is that you were able to confront taking a shower.
Yeah.
Right? Even though it scared the shit out of you, you did confront it and do it. Maybe Dad should have
petrified me.
Maybe
I was petrified a few times. There were some nights that I didn't sleep the whole night. Like, I was just petrified. Like,
And interesting that you
scared.
didn't come over into my room or anything.
I couldn't move. Yeah. Couldn't move.
Couldn't get out of bed.
No.
Scared.
Yeah. Ugh. But that definitely happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
Where I sweating too.
I wonder, what about at Mom's house?
I could get out of bed there. Because you lived and we were in the same room for a long time.
That's true.
And
I do remember you coming over to my room at Mom's house consistently.
Mm.
I definitely remember that a couple of times.
Weird. I remember one time you woke up and went pee in the bathroom, and then I woke up right after you and went pee, and you shut the lid, and I didn't know that you shut the lid, and I literally just pissed all over the toilet lid because you had shut the lid, but like my brain had just thought that it was like ready to go because you had just peed.
Oh no.
And you had shut the lid, and I peed all over the floor and the toilet.
What did you do?
I got like toilet paper and cleaned it up. I turned the light on and shut the door and cleaned it all up.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
See, and you were so little. I mean, that's the other thing, is I feel like one of the horrible things that happened to you is that you were forced to be on my timeline. You know?
Mm.
Like with Dad taking baths with us. He didn't take baths with you after he stopped taking baths with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I mean, and I think the bath is a good example because...
But I think that's where a lot of my insecurity must have come from, because I really had a really difficult time showering by myself.
In the shower. So that's an interesting, you know, connection there.
Yeah. Like, I was haunted in the shower.
That's interesting.
You know, which is so weird to think.
Yeah.
I was.
And like you said, you had that weird...
I had always had Dad with me.
And you had that weird experience of Dad then shutting you off.
I don't even remember that. It's never even been something that's occurred
Until
to me.
we've talked about it. I mean,
Yeah.
that happens in conversation all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these are those...
But it's not something that shaped me, that I was like, oh, Dad's not showering with me
It didn't
anymore.
shape you consciously.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything, you
Right.
know? Sometimes it takes years before you
Yeah.
come and retouch some of these important aspects of what happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like Dad was. I feel like I was scared of him for no reason. Now I look back, I had no reason to be scared of him, but I feel like I was scared of him a lot, just regularly. Like I was very fearful of Dad. In a respectable way, Like
he definitely had a temper. I mean, he had a temper when we were little. I mean, he would definitely get frustrated when we wouldn't listen and stuff like that. Like, there were times where he would definitely...
We fucked around so much.
Yeah.
Like, even with his discipline, we'd still fuck around at the store. And
for sure.
Always.
We'd make his life very difficult,
We'd have to play the little games.
Can you imagine walking through a store with two kids?
By yourself,
and you're trying to get shit for their dinner?
He was such a thug. We didn't even realize what he was doing.
No.
Like, we didn't realize that was a routine that we were supposed to be participating in. We were just like...
For sure. So, I don't think it's Dad's fault necessarily that you were afraid of him. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's good to go back and look now, because maybe you can fix that now. If we can articulate some of these problems, it's like, okay, maybe I should let my daughter decide when she doesn't want me to see her naked and when she doesn't want to see me naked anymore.
Yeah.
Because that might be a comforting thing. It might actually help her development. For me to leave that up to her.
And once she makes that decision,
then she's empowered by the decision to do that.
She made the decision.
Exactly.
And that's so powerful. She's like, I'm a big girl now. I don't want to shower with Daddy anymore.
Exactly. Okay. Boom.
Good job.
Exactly.
But
you've just taken a step.
Just know, honey, like, when I was little and I showered by myself, I was scared. So if you want me to sit like on the toilet, I can sit behind the curtain. I don't have to see you naked. I can hand you the towel over the shower curtain.
Exactly.
We can work out all sorts of problem-solving techniques that make you comfortable and me comfortable. And at a certain age, maybe I even talk to her about that, and that'd be a perfect way of getting through it. Maybe I do become uncomfortable seeing her naked at some point, and then I tell her, I'm uncomfortable seeing you naked.
Exactly.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just you're becoming a woman now, and these parts are sacred to you, and therefore they're just yours. And that's how it can be moving forward. I'm just going to stand on the outside of the shower now, and I'm just going to hand you a towel. Are you comfortable with that? Yeah, Dad, I'm comfortable with that. Cool.
Exactly.
Like, let's do that.
And I think one of the things that fathers do that is such a bad thing is like offloading certain responsibilities to mom because mom is a girl.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's like, just because mom is a girl doesn't mean that that's what she needs to get through some of these things.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe mom is more comfortable in the bathroom with her daughter, at age 11.
Yeah.
Maybe daughter wants dad sitting.
I remember that bath time being fun.
It was the
with
best
mom
thing.
And like everything. It
totally.
Like we got, scrubbed and everything. It was awesome.
It was. I mean, our culture
like
has
you
made
can have
things
fun in the bathtub with your children. It's
totally
a lot of fun,
I mean, I think that maybe mom cut things off too quickly too. It's like, why?
Because she got uncomfortable or something.
But she didn't talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we had a conversation and she was like, you're becoming a young man, and I want to give you this privacy, and if you still want me to take baths with you, then, we're going to, like what you just said. It's like she could have that conversation with me, which would be, we can close the curtain and I can sit on the toilet and we can talk. And, maybe maybe bath time was a time where I was offloading important information to mom because I was relaxed, right? Maybe I lost that because bath time stopped.
Yeah.
It's like you need to be really careful and thoughtful about what it is you're actually doing with your kids, I think that...
Because everything you do routinely, it has an impact.
Massive. Like, looking back now, it's like that was huge.
These were huge events of our life. Yeah.
Huge moments.
You want to know another huge moment?
What?
At some age, I don't know which one, I think 11, we destroyed all my Batman.
Dude, I was just thinking about that the other day.
Like my action figures.
And I felt guilty about it.
With the bat.
Yeah.
And we hit him down the cul-de-sac.
We blew them apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did at least 4 or 5.
We
Didn't we?
did a few of them.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a few of them.
Yeah.
It might have been
My
even
collection
more.
was never the same again, and I still like I'd never so fucking stupid.
It was a bad decision.
Yeah. Dude, I willfully participated with you. It was
No, I
not your
know.
idea. It was like it was our idea. Like it was a brother idea.
Well, what it had turned into is one of the ways that you played with your Batman was picking them up, throwing them up in the garage, and hitting them.
Oh.
Right?
Jesus.
And so I think you blew one apart one time,
I was just like, fuck it. Let's
and then
do
we
it
blew them
again.
all apart for sure. So it was something to that effect, like but
Jeez, that's like a little Sid monster.
Yeah,
I
it was
just
horrible.
like destroying my toys. When we
for
fucking,
sure.
And then
but I felt
but that
like I was
was-
just thinking about that the
was
other
an
week.
initiation.
Like,
I took that as an initiation
to what?
to not be a child anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I grew up from that.
I was
like,
definitely-
wow, I don't play with toys anymore. And think about that for me. Like, my whole life was playing with toys, like in front of my face. I could do it for hours. Like, I
Yeah.
could just create
You'd
a
create a
fantasy
fantasy
drama,
land.
and I could just have the Batman enact the drama for hours. That's what I spent like 90% of my creative time doing, is just playing with action figures and making them enact things. You know? That's so fucking weird. And then we killed him. I just abolished that part of myself. I said, I'm not being a child anymore. This is not helping me to think about this. Action figures, you know? But I was wrong, because, you know, I was probably doing some complex fucking, you know, behavioral analysis playing with my Batman action figures. I guarantee it. How do my Batman action figures want to interact
and
with
like
each
I
other?
said, they were out in the garage. You
So I
had
had a-
stopped playing with them to some extent.
Yeah.
You weren't playing with them as much.
Oh, for sure.
Anyway.
No, definitely.
So that's why they got.
It was like beyond the point. It was like I had already stopped playing with them.
yes,
And I was ready to be done with them forever.
for sure. You were ready. I mean, it wasn't. But I definitely like wish we still had all those Batmen, because that would be
So
an
cool.
awesome memory.
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
And you know, again, another thing that like maybe Jay and Mom should have taken notice. Like, these Batmen are getting a little worn out. You know, this is Blake's whole
Childhood.
identity.
Yeah.
He's
Dude.
wrapped a lot of his identity in these action figures. This is something to keep. Like, I don't need to keep Blake's baby shoes. I need to keep the Batman.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
and this is hard. This is the hard part about parenting, is that having regrets and stuff like that, I'm sure it just comes along with being a parent. I'm sure it's just a natural byproduct of being a parent, but I do think you can mitigate some of it by just being,
open to conversing about some of these things.
yeah, having the conversations with your kids,
Yeah.
asking them the important questions about what they think about some things.
Yeah.
And then maybe going and writing it down.
Yeah.
Or writing it down with your kid
Yeah.
and being like, this is what you said about this. You know,
Yeah.
I just wrote down what
Like,
you
this
said
is
when we
how
had this
deeply
conversation.
You were able to think about this topic when you were 5. This is how deeply you were able to think about this topic when you were 10. This is how deeply you were able to think about this topic when you were 15.
That would be an awesome, that would be like your child journal or something like
Yeah.
that. Like you ask a question and
You
then
have to
a
have your child
conversation.
have a journal and write in it every night. As soon as they can write, they need to start writing in a journal every night. And I have my notebook now. Dude, when I find my old notebooks from like old shit, like I'm like, what the fuck? It's just like peace signs and like hearts and like swastikas and shit. Like, it's like, what was I doing? Like, I wasn't paying attention in class at all. I just drew like clown faces constantly. Like, I drew really sinister, evil clown faces on everything. I don't know why.
That's so weird, dude.
Yeah. That's so fucked up. But I did for freshman year, dude. All my folders forever, they were paper folders, so you could write on them. They all had like just really devious eyes and like the really sharp, spiky teeth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
I know
remember that thing?
I know
that
the-
little smiley that I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep. Yep. Did little monsters and dragons and Batman, and I did like little cityscapes. I learned how to do that. You taught me how to do cityscapes or something like
Cityscapes
that.
are the
Yeah.
best, dude. I remember doing
You
that
taught
too.
me how to do like the cityscape where you're looking down the road and there's buildings on either side of one road, I think.
Yep. and the one where you just create the
The
towers,
little buildings,
the
yeah,
buildings with
yeah.
and then you could create stuff above. God, I would love to go back and look at some of those. Like, I don't have any of those. I'm sure our mom might have them somewhere.
Weird.
You know, but yeah, being a kid is weird, and I wish I knew. I just wish I had more conversations, and that mom maybe knew a little bit more.
Yeah, but the
and
brain.
Dad maybe
Okay, but
knew
this is
a little
another
more
thing.
about
Like
me.
the brain, it's developing, so like it's not capable of having a conversation about a lot of this stuff. But
No, but your parents are capable of having the conversation with you.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones who can be your memory and
Yeah.
and your and the focus.
yeah, but you actually, I think, before your kid can write, probably the number one thing that you need to do is show them how to act.
Yeah, be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like show them how to act somehow. You have to you have to show them how to act, and everything. How do you get your kid to eat? Like, you probably have to eat. Like, I'm guessing, I don't know. Like, I'm guessing your kid wants to mimic you. Like, I bet your kid wants to feed you. Just kidding.
Maybe.
But children are weird, man.
I mean, how many
I need to go to bed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we did 3 hours.
Alright. We can chop that up and get something